For the longest time, if a collector wanted a Kathryn Janeway action figure, there was only this 1995 Playmates Toys figure. But now, we finally have choices.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to another Star Trek review. We've covered a wide range of topics on this channel prior, figures ranging from smallest scale to larger scales, but we've never talked about the 1/6 scale collector's market very much, because EXO-6 is a company dealing in that market. 1/6 scale being 12-inch tall, very detailed, very much as accurate as possible to the film and TV likeness of characters. And what better place for me to start than with Star Trek, specifically Star Trek Voyager's Captain Kathryn Janeway. This was my first of the collector's detailed 1/6 scale figures that I've ever purchased, so let's take a look and see if she was worth the money. So I wanted to highlight the packaging on the EXO-6 Janeway because I think the EXO-6 does a great job with their overall box presentation. I mean, these are very expensive figures. This Janeway here ran about $180, I think, before shipping. So, you know, it's nice to get a nice package alongside it. And it's really well done. So first of all, I got a nice portrait of the actual Janeway figure. You can see down there, Captain Kathryn Janeway 1/6 scale figure. And up here, we've got the Star Trek logo, specifically notes Voyager. You got a picture of Janeway, a little bit of the Doctor, who was the second release. And then this side panel where I'm thinking, do I need the entire crew of Voyager in 1/6 scale? Also, no Kes. That's just Kes's luck. But anyways, they do have this nice portrait of the Voyager crew for seasons 4 through 7. And it looks nice, and will probably look really nice if they actually get to make all of them, because that would be kind of amazing. On the back, we've got sort of just a layout of what's included. I imagine not too many of these are bought in person just because of their price and availability being sort of limited, but there's all the legalese and stuff. Pulling off the slipcover, you do get a nice look at Janeway inside the packaging there, where everything is laid out. There were a lot more plastic bags when she was first in here. This is a repackage, but as you can see, very nice overall. I did want to give credit to everyone that worked on this release because they actually gave credits. This is wonderful. I love when toy companies will do this, because toys, action figures, collectibles, they don't usually get credits. And whenever this happens, I like to highlight it. This is fantastic. I love it. There's also a video on the website for EXO-6 on how to use the figure, and there's instructions in an instructional video, and I like that as well. Really, really great stuff that you don't see as much in the industry. So every EXO-6 figure comes with a stand, and it's pretty much the same stand for all of them. It's kind of a nice hexagon shape. There is two options for an insert. You can either get this one, looks like a transporter pad, or this one, which I think is a unique kind of just EXO-6 design. I personally like the transporter pad. It kind of gives it a cool vibe. And it's got this little overlay part, so, you know, just kind of line this up here and then just line it up, click it in, nice and neat. Now you got a stand. To really get this thing going, you got a little stand clip here. You just push this in, and then this allows this to clip into the back, line it up with the grooves, like that, and then now you've got an actual support arm which will fit under Janeway to keep her stable. You do get this extra little clip here, which is a clear base clip that goes on the front, and then that'll allow you to display the included Starfleet Museum archive card for Janeway, which has a picture of the Voyager in the Lacars styling, which looks really cool. And then on top of that, you got extra clips here which can clip under the bases that allow you to connect multiple EXO-6 figures. There's a couple different variations of this, but essentially you use these and you can connect other stands. So if you have multiple EXO-6 Star Trek figures, but I currently don't, you can connect them all into a nice little base, which is pretty cool overall. So it's a nice display option in addition to just being a nice figure. Now the display stand itself works pretty good. You can just set Janeway right on it and it keeps her balanced, which is excellent. I like this style of stand. So looking at the head sculpt for Janeway, I think the sculpting and paint detail is really, really nice. From multiple angles, you can get the essence of Janeway, and I like that. You get the sense of the character, and it's not too realistic to where it gives you kind of an uncanny valley feeling like a lot of Hot Toys will have, where it's like, oh wow, did you clone and shrink the actor here? But in this case, I think it has a very nice look for Janeway that just gives her the Janeway look. I don't really know how else to put it. What's also nice is that they did mold in the rank pips, or I should say have it as a separate piece, because after dealing with a lot of Playmates figures where they're painted and molded incorrectly, it's nice to see the rank pips are done correctly. Also at this close-in angle, you can see the fabric texture is very close to the actual uniform costumes from the series. In addition to that, it is double layered where you have that purple undershirt in addition to the overall jumpsuit. And her comm badge is very nicely rendered as well. It's very, very good detail work on the costume. You can even see as you pan down, it's got, the lines. It's very accurate. It's got the, the slight scrunchy part at the waist, which sort of gives it that belt vibe to it, which I like. I like the way that this is rendered because this is very true to the actual costumes seen in the series, which gives it lifelike detail. Even down to the shoes, where if we notice the bottom of the shoes even have the little elastic strap sort of detail that attaches the shoe to the pant leg, so that way it stays together. Very, very nicely detailed, very good work here. Now, being a 1/6 scale collectible does not mean she is without articulation. In fact, her articulation's pretty good. So first things first, the head does turn. So we got the turn, left, right, up, down. It's got kind of a sort of rubbery neck, but it does give you a lot of more natural positions to it than a standard action figure. Shoulders move out, shoulders move forward and back. You want to be careful because you don't want to end up stressing the uniform too much, but it does flex quite well. Better than I expected, actually. This doesn't feel like it's overtaxing it, which is good because you want to be able to pose in poses like this. She also does feature a double jointed elbow. In addition to that, she does have a wrist joint, which you can see here. It moves up and down. It also turns. It also turns at the wrist as well, so if you need to get it into a different position, totally doable. Her torso does move a little bit. Nothing too unnatural. It is a little restrictive due to the uniform, but you won't really need to use that as much. Her legs, they do go pretty far. Because of the elastic keeping the pant leg in place, it does go about that far, which is probably about as much as you need. And you can move the leg forward. Again, the elastic keeping it around the shoe, and then backward as well. And then in addition to that, double jointed knee, pretty nice. And again, that elastic strap is keeping the pant leg in place. And of course, you got some ankle pivots. So anything that you're going to want Janeway to do that sort of matches what she did in the series, totally doable. She's not going to be doing high karate kicks or crazy martial arts that are out of this world, but she has the natural articulation you'd expect from a figure of Janeway. So Janeway comes with an assortment of hands, as you'd expect from a high-end collectible. First of all, we have the hands, which is the calm down, we're just trying to get home hands. Then we got a pair of fists, which are the I'm getting my crew home hands. And then we have the iconic Janeway pose hands. The rest of the hands for the figure are specific to accessories, so let's look at some of those accessories. So naturally, she has the iconic Star Trek weapon of choice, the hand phaser, which you can see here is very well detailed, and I like that there's a specific grip hand for it, and it looks really nice overall, and she holds it quite well, which is fantastic. What's also really nice is that there is a holster for said phaser. And much like how the costumes I assumed worked in the show, there is a small magnet in the fabric, which magnets onto that. So it's pretty cool because you get, sort of a small magnet on the back here, and it just clips into place, and it holds really well. It stays there, and it looks good. She also comes with her tricorder, which looks really, really great. I mean, I just want to zoom in on some of the details on this thing. It is incredibly impressively detailed for such a small piece in the grand scheme of things. What's also really cool is if you take the tricorder out of her hand and want to put it away into its folded position, it's magnetic. So essentially there's a small magnet on the bottom. This piece is completely separate. And then, you can have it in the open position like this. And if you want to close it up, you just close it up. But of course, there's also a holster for this. Much like with the phaser, the tricorder holster goes there. The tricorder fits inside. Just got to line it up a little bit with some of the magnets so they don't repel each other. But there you go. You got her with the tricorder and the phaser holstered at the hip, ready to go. So she also includes a pad, which is very nicely detailed, much like the other accessories. But there's not a specific holding hand for it, and a lot of the gripping hands just feel too loose. Like, to hold it naturally, you can sort of get it, but not really, and it mostly just ends up falling out, which is kind of a bummer. Not all is lost, however, because we do have this very nice phaser rifle. Now, this thing can be a little tricky to get her to hold, and they actually have a tutorial video on the EXO-6 website for their figures, and they actually show how to do this, and I want to kind of repeat the process here. First of all, it's nice it's got the strap, it's a nice nylon, looks really good, but essentially what you want to do is not attach the hands to her first, but instead attach the hands to the rifle. And then once you get the hands on the rifle, which can be kind of tricky, as you can see, it's a really tight fit. But once you get it on there, like that, and then you get the other hand up here, then you're going to be good to go pretty much from there. It's just a matter of positioning your arms and plugging in the wrists. That way you're not putting too much pressure on the wrist pegs when trying to attach the rifle into the hands while the hands are attached to the body. So do this first, then put it on the figure. That's the best way to do it. And there you go. Kathryn Janeway with her phaser rifle, just ready to take care of business. And there you go. I mean, that's pretty much probably the top of the line accessory, right? There's like nothing that could top it. Could there be just one more little thing that just is somehow cooler than the phaser rifle? There is. Janeway has her coffee mug. There's really nothing beyond this that's just any better. This is the peak right here. This is the coffee mug. This is the greatest Star Trek accessory ever. It's even got coffee in it. Thank you very much for this, EXO-6. It's very much not just, oh, hey, let's look at the characters' like list of accessories they could include, like phaser rifle and tricorder and all that. It's very specific to Janeway to have the coffee cup. And I just love it. It reuses one of the phaser rifle hands to hold it best, at least that I've found. But, I mean, that's just fantastic. I mean, how better to represent Janeway than with her and her coffee? I mean, she went into a nebula for coffee, so Janeway and coffee cup. It doesn't get much better than that. So I've gone through the video talking about how she's 1/6 scale and kind of a larger figure. How tall is she in actuality? She is 11.5 inches tall. So just so you guys know, she's in that larger size class. But specifically, I did want to make one comparison because I only own one other Janeway figure because it's one of two other Janeways, and that's the old Playmates one. So as you can imagine, this is a bit of an upgrade. It is kind of nice, though. The Playmates one was based on Season 1 Janeway with the bun. This is later season Janeway with her more iconic hair, I think. And yeah, you can see that in a long time frame between these figures, we have upgraded Janeway quite a bit. And EXO-6 is, of course, blows the $5 Playmates figure out of the water. This costs a lot more, but it's kind of amazing that there pretty much was nothing in between these two, which is also kind of dumb. We should have a lot more Janeway figures than we do, but it's nice to finally get a new one. So overall, EXO-6 1/6 scale Captain Kathryn Janeway from Star Trek Voyager is fantastic. This is an amazing piece of action figure. And while I don't normally collect 1/6 scale, this definitely makes me consider the format more. I took the plunge because it's Kathryn Janeway. We don't get that many figures of her, like I've mentioned, and honestly, this is just an excellent release, and it does make me want to get more EXO-6 in the future. Will I actually go through with that? We'll see, because again, almost $200 per figure. It's a little up in the price range, especially for me, who's mostly collecting 1/12 scale, not 1/6 scale, and there's a whole lot with that. But it was worth getting Janeway, and I definitely can recommend it. If you are looking for one, best of luck. There was, I think, 2 production runs of Janeway. She was incredibly popular, probably more so than I think EXO-6 expected. So if you are looking for one, definitely keep an eye out. She's definitely worth it, and yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything else to say besides if you want it, I can definitely recommend it. But overall, that's Janeway. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and comment down below and tell me your favorite Star Trek captain. And also be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you haven't had a chance yet, I've done a bunch of Star Trek videos on the channel very recently because I've been doing a retrospective on the Playmates Toys Star Trek line from the 1990s. So check that out if you haven't had the chance. Also be sure to check out my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643 and Hero Club at hero-club.com for Star Trek news and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying Goodbye.